Hi, I'm Jake. I make RPG supplements and videos about Pathfinder 2, or PF2. I love PF2. I want to get the chance to play all this crap from Tian Xia. It's fun. What are you doing? This is Gast, by the way. He's the the pet monster. His drive isn't for food, it's just for cuddles. Alright, so going over the Spirit Warrior, because people requested it, and I haven't read it yet, so why not? Spirit Warrior. Warriors can draw powers from the joy and the sadness in their hearts, spiritual gifts and burdens they can share and give to others. That's weird. They cultivate experiences from their adventures to nurture and grow their spiritual power, learning to channel it through martial arts techniques tailored to their style and personality. Once they've created a martial art that combines a favored weapon and specialized unarmed techniques, Spirit Warriors learn to channel spirit energy through their limbs and weapons. Spirit Warriors are typically found in the forests of spirits, the Chuyokai forest, and the Velashmai jungle. Yes, hello. Spirit Warrior dedication. Level 2, uncommon. Access Tian Xia origin. So if you're from Tian Xia, this loses the uncommon trait. Otherwise, you have to ask for your GM's permission. But you also have to ask for your GM's permission to come from Tian Xia. So you really have to talk to your GM no matter what. Or just don't. I don't know. Depends on your GM. I wouldn't care. You're a warrior who trains your spirit and body to work in perfect harmony, enhancing your attacks with your spiritual energy while fighting with a ferocious martial technique that combines blade and fist. The damage die for your fist changes to 1d6 instead of 1d4. Good. And your fist gains the parry trait. I did read that part before. I forgot. Block with your hand, because you're Neo. You don't take the normal -2 circumstance penalty when making a lethal attack with your fist or any other unarmed attacks. You gain the Overwhelming Combination action. Overwhelming Combination. 1 action, Flourish. Requirements. You're wielding a one-handed melee weapon or a melee weapon with the Agile or Finesse trait. Effects. Make 2 strikes against a target within your reach, 1 with the required weapon and 1 with your fist unarmed attack. If both hit the same target, combine their damage for the purposes of its resistances and weaknesses. Apply your multiple attack penalty to each strike normally. It's Flurry. It's a non-monk flurry. For 1 feat. That's amazing. It's just fucking amazing. This is great. Like, I don't care what else this archetype does. It's great. Because you get a flurry at the first level of the archetype. Kaiju Defense Oath. Hi. Level 4 feat. Prerequisite Spirit Warrior dedication. That's going to be for all of these. I'm not going to read that again. You've sworn an oath to defend the helpless from dangerous titanic beasts, including kaiju that roam the surface of Galarian. Attacks made as part of your Overwhelming Combination ability gain a +4 circumstance bonus to damage against a creature at least 2 sizes larger than you. That's awesome. Or +6 if you have master proficiency with the weapon you used. Oh, this is great. Halfling and goblins, you rejoice. This is awesome for you. Or hell, pixies. You can also gain a +2 circumstance bonus to saving throws and DCs against kaiju hazards. You gain the following edict. What the fuck is a kaiju hazard? That's frightening. Edict. You must do everything within your power to protect others from massive creatures they can't defend themselves from. In the event the victims are evil or actively trying to harm you or other innocents, you don't have to save them. So basically, be a heroic adventurer in a heroic adventure game. I think you can do that. Okay, no problem. Next feat, level 4, Sacred Wild's Oath. You've sworn an oath to protect the holy places within nature and the spirits that dwell within, from ancient trees to primordial wild guardians. You can use diplomacy to make an impression on animals and to make very simple requests of them. That's awesome. And doesn't seem to fit here, but who cares? That's really cool. You gain a +2 circumstance bonus to diplomacy checks to make an impression when interacting with a beast, fae, or kami. Neat! Yes! Bonuses to dealing with fae. I know not everybody does this, but I freaking love fae. Every chance I get, I'm going to put a fae into an adventure. Anyway, you gain the following edict. Edict. You must aid any animal or nature spirit in need unless it violates your other tenets or puts someone else at risk of immediate harm. Great. That's a good feat. For fun, mostly. But also useful. Sometimes it's better to solve a conflict diplomatically than try to stab things to death and get poisoned or cursed forever. Next feat, level 4, Tricksterbane Oath. You've sworn an oath to ferret out and destroy malevolent shape-changers who pose as mortals with evil intent. You gain a +4 circumstance bonus to perception checks to detect a shape-changed creature's disguise. Neat. And a +2 circumstance bonus to attempts to recall knowledge about shape-changers. Whenever you use overwhelming combination against a shape-changed creature, you attempt to counteract one polymorph effect on that creature. Neat. The counteract check is half your level rounded up, and the counteract check modifier is your charisma modifier plus your proficiency bonus with the weapon used to strike as part of your overwhelming combination. Nice! That is a really cool way to let a marshal dispel a shape changer. Or a shape change effect. Neat. Plus, I guess you could use it as like secondary check. I'm pretty sure this person is a kitsune. Failed the perception check. I'm just going to punch him. Can I punch him? All right. I can try to counteract it. Edict. You must reveal and slay evil or predatory shape changers you discover or encounter as long as you have a reasonable chance of success. Reasonable. Depends on the player. Next feat, level 6, Cutting Heaven, Crushing Earth. Awesome name. Your skill in combining fist and blade has grown into a seamless art where each attack makes an opponent more vulnerable to the next. As long as you have invested and are wearing a set of hand wraps of mighty blows, you also apply their runes to a single weapon you're wielding that can be used with your overwhelming combination ability. Fucking awesome! You gain the following benefits. When you successfully strike an opponent with this weapon, it's off guard to the next strike you make against it with a fist unarmed attack before the end of your next turn. When you successfully strike an opponent with your fist unarmed attack, it's off guard. 2 kitties. Can you move? It's off guard to the next strike you make against it with a one-handed, agile, or finesse melee weapon before the end of your next turn. Wow. That is awesome. That is a really well-constructed feat. This alone could be a reason to take the Archetype. Because you just have to invest in one magic item, and it applies to basically everything you use. Fuck yeah, that's cool. Next feat, level 6, Flowing Palm Deflection. The simple and precise movements of your hands allow you to deflect blows with the same efficacy as a raised shield. When you parry with your fist, which is weird and bullshit, increase the circumstance bonus to AC it grants from +1 to +2. That's neat. That's all it does, but every +1 matters, and at 6th level, that's a good defense bonus. That's good. Next feat. Level 6, Spirit of the Blade. It has the Flourish trait. You charge your blade with spiritual energy, allowing it to cut through spirits and fiends with fearsome efficiency. The next strike you make with a melee weapon or fist unarmed attack deals an additional 1d6 spirit damage. Cool. This bonus damage is lost if you don't attempt a strike before the start of your next turn. At 10th level, you deal an additional 2d6 spirit damage with this ability, and at 18th level, you deal an additional 3d6 spirit damage. Oh, that's weird. It's a flourish that's really just preparing to do something. You don't strike as part of this attack. Huh. I don't think it's worth it because it's an action for 1d6 damage. Granted, it does increase, but it's still effectively on par, like ratio-wise, as you level. So, I don't think I would take this. That's a bummer. Oh well. It's there if you want to do a little bit of extra damage. Next feat. Okay, I have to say that Spirit of the Blade would be occasionally useful if you're not going to move in combat or use any athletics maneuvers, and you don't cast spells, and you're not going to tumble through anyone, and you're not going to intimidate anyone, and you don't want to spend all 3 of your actions attacking. That's how useful it is. Make of that what you will. Next feat, level 6. Sword Light Wave. 2 actions. You channel spiritual energy through your weapon, unleashing it as a torrent of devastating power. Make a ranged strike against an opponent within 60 feet using a one-handed, agile, or finesse melee weapon, or your fist unarmed attack. The attack is made at your normal proficiency with the chosen weapon or fist unarmed attack and has the same traits, damage dice, and runes, but all damage dealt by the attack is spirit damage. Cool. This is neat. It's really good. You can just keep doing it. Just punch it 60 feet away. I love the extending rune for weapons. This is, you have the extending rune on all of your weapons. Cool. And then, but it still leaves you room to put more runes on, because it's just a feat. This is great. This is very good. Next feat, level 8, God's Palm. I'm just picturing like a hand coming from heaven, squashing somebody. Flourish. You control your spirit energy when you attack, using it to reinforce yourself or to thrust past your enemy's physical defenses. Make a fist strike. On a success, you can choose to either deal all damage from the attack as spirit damage, or deal damage as normal but gain a number of temporary hit points equal to half your level that lasts for one round. Kick ass. It would be unlikely that you will always choose spirit damage, but having temporary hit points is probably your preference, but it's nice to have the option. Because sometimes attacks that you do are resisted, or the fucking thing's immune to it. Spirit damage is a good option. Very good option. Unless you're fighting golems, which are no longer called golems. They're just different individual constructs. Anyway, that's a good feat. God's Palm. It's good for buffing yourself to keep yourself topped up on health. Next feat, level 8, Sheltering Pulse. 2 actions. Has the Manipulate trait. You thrust your hand or weapon into the ground and release a pulse that creates a sheltering nexus of energy for you and your allies. Choose an unoccupied square within 15 feet. The nexus appears in a 15-foot emanation around that square and lasts for 3 rounds. You and your allies gain a +1 status bonus to AC while in the area. This is neat. This is what I picture a base monk doing. All these spirit-based things, because like okay, maybe not everybody has this idea in their head of what a monk is, but like, I love the idea of the spiritually centered martial artist. Like from the old Kung Fu series with David Carradine. It was all about like centering yourself and being balanced and using your spirit in ways that others don't. And this feels more like a monk than the monk to me. That's cool. I like it. Anyway, obviously it's useful. I wish that it increased over time, but I do understand that the +1s to AC matter and they're restricted in a different way. Maybe I would increase it at like 12th level. I don't think that would break anything. Next feat, level 10, Transcendent Deflection. Frequency once per 10 minutes. It's a reaction. Trigger, an enemy within your reach would damage you or your ally with an attack. Requirements, you wielding a one-handed, agile, or finesse melee weapon. You charge your weapon with spiritual energy and intercept the attack. The weapon becomes broken, and the target is unharmed by the attack. Interesting. If you're carrying another one-handed, agile, or finesse melee weapon, you can immediately swap it for the broken weapon as part of the reaction. I like it. You just use your weapon to absorb the force of the enemy's blow against you or your enemy. I see why this is once per 10 minutes. This is awesome. Fucking awesome. The target is just unharmed by the attack. This does not give resistance or, I mean, it is basically immunity, but this doesn't give like temporary hit points or resistance. It's a 10th level feat that just negates damage from an attack. I can't say it's bullshit, but it's close. It's really good. It's quite powerful. So take that. If you take this, why would you not take that? It's amazing. Level 12 feat, Intercepting Hand. Your particular martial art includes various defensive actions designed to remove your opponent's ability to cause harm. Your fist unarmed attack gains the disarm trait. Cool. You gain the disarming interception action. Disarming interception, it's a reaction. Requirements, you have your fist positioned to parry. Okay, so you have taken the parry action, like raising your fist to parry. Trigger, an enemy within your reach targets you or an ally with a weapon strike. Effects, you attempt to disarm the weapon the enemy is attacking with. You gain a +2 status bonus to this disarm check, and if this check is successful, the triggering attack is disrupted. If the disarm attempt is a critical success and you have a hand free, you can catch the disarmed weapon in your hand instead of it falling to the ground in the target's space. This is great. I love the feel of this. That's the kind of thing I expect martial arts to do. So the Spirit Warrior, this is just great. It's delivering on a lot of my hopes and expectations for martial arts monk feel. Obviously, that's very useful. The disarming and stealing the weapon. And it doesn't just disarm it. It stops the attack. That's great. They're mid-swing, you take the weapon away, and they just don't hit anybody with it. Fuck yeah. Next feat, level 12, Sword of Sealing. 2 actions. Your spiritual power pierces both body and soul, pinning your foe in place. Make a melee strike with a one-handed agile or finesse weapon and your fist unarmed attack. On a successful hit, the target must succeed at a fortitude save against the higher of your class DC or your spell DC, or become immobilized. Kick ass. The target can end this immobilization with a successful escape attempt using the higher of your class DC or your spell DC as the escape DC. Dude, otherwise this doesn't end. It doesn't say they're immobilized until the end of turn. And there's no limit on how often you can use this. Holy shit. Like, I grew up on shows that gave the impression that you could just, like, push people, hit people in one point or multiple points and make them immobilized. Xena, anyone? Yeah. God, that's so cool. I like this. This is a really good archetype. I like this a lot. Wow. I didn't realize I was missing this stuff. I might actually make a monk. I mean, they won't be a monk, but they'll feel like a monk. Spirit Warrior dedication. You know, witch, Spirit Warrior. So that's it for the Spirit Warrior. Thank you for being here. I hope you liked this archetype because I do. Fucking neat. Anyway, if you're a patron, thank you for being present. I appreciate your presence always, including on the Discord. I love chatting with you guys. If you are or are not a patron, whatever, you can join the Discord. The link's in the description, or it's in the About page of YouTube. So just come on down and chat with us, because it's fun. We also have a cooking channel, and we do a build-a-build contest every week. And we have, like, finished builds on there, and homebrew, and world-building ideas, and just, it's fun. It's useful, too. And we're all nerds, so you'll fit right in. Thank you for being here again. Playlist for Tian Xia stuff. Playlist for archetypes, because this was an archetype. Thank you. Bye-bye. Mwah.